And welcome to RockSim Live. I'm Tim Van Milligan. Let's see if microphone is working. I'm hiding here behind these computers. How are you doing today? This is RockSim Live. This is where we talk about RockSim Pro, or the Launch Visualizer. So I'm glad to be back. Last week I was in Texas for my daughter's diving competition, and it went well. Was it last week? Yeah, it's been a week ago already. Wow. The weather was beautiful down there. It was supposed to rain the whole time, but actually it was sunny. So here I am today, and I'm here to take your questions. So far we've got Curtis Howe, and he says hello from Portland, Michigan. Hello, Curtis. So what are we going to be doing today? It's up to you. I've got the chat going. I got a computer here that I'm monitoring the chat, and I got the RockSim going here, so I'm ready to do that. But now I need your questions. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear? Let me switch to my computer, and I'll get through the introduction part. You'll find RockSim at apogeerockets.com. Yeah, let's go on. That's where we make it. We've got this scrolling banner bar here, and one of these panels shows you RockSim Pro and RockSim. So here's the Launch Visualizer. The Launch Visualizer will actually take you to rocksim.com, like there. And then we have Happy Halloween. Today is October 31st. This is episode 215. Here's the banner for RockSim. So you can click on that, and it will take you to a page that has more information. And then there's one for RockSim Pro. And the thing that was brand new about RockSim Pro is we released a trial. We haven't had a trial before. We've had RockSim Pro now for about 20 years. Really 20 years. We've been making it better over time, but we haven't had a trial. So now we have a trial. But to access the trial, you got to buy something. So it's virtually free. So you buy $30 worth of merchandise, and you need it. You need the parts anyway, right? You need a kit, you need a motor, you need parts, you need information. We would rather you buy it from us. So we're giving you this incentive, and then we give you a 30-day demo. And the cool thing is you can extend it again and again. So just come back next month to extend it for 30 more days, and then another 30 more days. And that's why I say it's virtually free, because you're going to be buying rocketry stuff anyway. But if you click on the RockSim banner, it will take you to where you can buy RockSim. And if you scroll down a little bit, it will tell you, a little bit about RockSim. We got a little video there. Now, this one does have a free 30-day trial as well. And you don't have to buy anything, but it's not RockSim Pro. There's a lot of similarity between RockSim and RockSim Pro. RockSim Pro is actually a lot better. And what we're trying to do is to incentivize people to go towards RockSim Pro, so that everybody's using RockSim Pro. And it just makes things easier when everybody's on one program. Then I don't have to jump back and forth and answer different questions. So that is RockSim 11. And if I go back to that banner bar here, if I click on that one, it takes you to this page and explains the free trial and how to get it. Like I said, all you got to do is spend $30. And what happens then is you'll get an email right after your credit card has been processed. And the email will give you the link and the unlock key for 30 days. And I can show you what the 30-day demo looks like, because that's what I'm running on this particular computer. It runs just like It's like it's the whole program. It's like everything. So nothing is hidden. So you can definitely try that out. We have Guppy Guy from Boise, and we got Mark Sell, and he says, "Can RockSim Pro simulate glide recovery?" And the answer to that is yes and no. There's something wrong with the glide recovery, but it partially works. I should say that. And we've had one issue that popped up on RockSim Pro. And so we just started releasing the RockSim Pro this week as the free trial. And everybody that spends $30 gets it. So it's kind of like people that weren't even expecting to get it, got it. And they're trying it out. And right now they're just hitting it hard. And one of the things is in RockSim Pro is the map feature. You know, it's kind of like Google Earth. And our plan, so we had to pay Google for that, for the maps. And we did not expect so many people to be using it. And we reached our quota this morning, which is, it's good and it's bad. You know, the good thing is that means people want to use it. The bad thing is, like right now, until they approve our new quota on how many maps that we get, so basically they just want access to more of our money. It's kind of like in limbo. So I could do a simulation with a rocket that glides, although seeing it glide is going to be tricky because you can see the rocket, but you have no background. So you have no reference on what it's doing. You know, it's kind of like instead of, you know, a green earth, a green and blue earth, it's all gray and there's no features. And so you're flying over a featureless terrain. And so you can't really tell what it's doing. And there's just like no depth perception. So we can do that. Any other questions? No other questions so far? Okay. We'll get into it then. Let's see. I think I actually even tried to, you know, a few weeks ago to create a glider. Let's see if I can find it. It's actually on my other computer. This is not my normal computer. This is the one I borrow to do RockSim. Let's see. Dynastar. You seeing me? Yeah, you're seeing my computer. So Dynastar Snarky. Snarky has things that look like wings. So let's look at it in 3D right here. So this is what it looks like. And it looks like it has wings. So does it have the potential to glide? That's the question. Okay, so Curtis Howe, let me go to his question here. It says, I downsized the dark matter probe using the scale function. Not all the parts match up exactly to the small sizes. Is there a way to adjust standard sizes other than part by part? And then Mark Sell, his follow-up question is, does this apply to the gliding parachute you sell? And I can definitely tell you on the gliding parachute, Mark, that no, it doesn't do the gliding parachute. Definitely doesn't. Because in RockSim, as soon as the parachute comes out, it just follows the wind. And, you know, simulating a gliding parachute is like beyond my knowledge. I'm sorry. Anyway, Curtis Howe. I'll answer Curtis Howe question because I think that's going to be easier. So he says he downsized the dark matter probe. So I can downside this. So right now, its diameter is 2.2 inches. And let's say you wanted to downsize it to a BT60. So first you got to get a calculator. And I don't have a calculator in my dock, so I need to find a calculator. Calculator app. Okay, so a BT60 is 1.64 inches, 1.637. And this one right here is 2.217. So it's 2.217 divided by, I think I should have gone it the other way, 0.637 equals, and I need to invert that. So I need to go, yeah, so it should be a smaller number. So 1.637 divided by 2.2, looking at this number right here, 2.217 equals. So we need to scale it down 73.8%. I'm going to move this off to the side. So the scaling feature is you go to Rocket, and then you go to Scale and by Scale Factor, and this is where this comes up. So I need to scale it to this number right there. Let's see what happens. Oh, it went away. I got to move that out of the way. Oh, don't do that to me. Come on. I have my screen just resized, and I didn't like it doing that. So Rocket, scale factor 0.7383521. Oh, it's only going to let me do that. Okay, so now it's scaled it down to 1.63 inches, which is approximately a BT60. It looks the same. It's just everything's been scaled down. Now the problem here, and this is what he's asking about, is, okay, so this is supposed to be a BT60 tube. But if we go and look at that tube, we go to Rocket Design Components, and it's highlighted, so it'll be right here. And if we open that up, so now we got the correct outside diameter, but the inside diameter is wrong. So what should that inside diameter be? So I'm going to go to the Apogee website, and I need a airframe tube 41.6, and that is a BT60. So it says Estes BT60 size. So if you look at the diameter, the inner diameter is 1.595 inches, where here the inside diameter is 1.6095. So it scaled down the outside correctly, but the inside, it also scaled it down, but it's not the same size on the inside as the outside, because a BT60, the wall thickness would not be thinner. It's about the same as a BT70. So yeah, so basically once you scale something down, then you do have to go through every part and say, this has got to be 595 inches. And so now it is truly a BT60. And you have to do that for the nose cone. It's the worst is the tubes, because, you know, like this one has an engine mount tube back here. I'm going to say cancel. Save your changes, no. It has an engine mount tube here. We have centering rings. Anything that has two diameters is going to not scale down properly. Fins are usually okay, but launch lugs and centering rings and couplers, Yeah, you got to go through them all one at a time. Now, the easy way to get around this is just ignore all that, because really what we're interested in is the shape of the rocket and flying it. And you can just quickly do a mass override at the end, and that accounts for all the differences between the two models. Although once you scale things down, you don't know the weight until you actually build it. So you have to build it first and then scale it down. Yeah, that's the one problem with scaling. And someday in the future, when AI is smart, this would be a task for AI. So you scale it down and then you tell the AI, okay, go find me the correct dimensions for all the parts on the Apogee website so that I know that my rocket, I can build it easily. And that's how you do it. So that answers that question from Curtis Howe. Alfred Indy, he says, Michigan, hello. I think he's from Michigan, and he is saying hello. Okay, so let's see, I just scaled that rocket down, so I need to kind of like reopen it. Sky torpedo, no. I'm going to reopen it. Starkey, open. No. Okay, so now we're back to the 2.217 inch diameter rocket. And let's see if we can get it to somewhat glide. First, let's run a simulation. Let's just throw in a rocket motor. And I think I'll choose like a D12 5. Okay, and flight events. Let's say there's no event. So it's like a glider. The nose is going to stay on. The parachute's not going to come out. So if it doesn't glide, it's going to just come down like a rock. Starting state, we're going to launch it almost straight up. And the launch guide azimuth, we're launching it towards the east. I'm just checking my settings here, my altitude. I do not know where that launch site is located, but that's okay. Let's see. Then we're going to do the flight profile, and we click that button. We're going to get a RockSim Pro message, and it will be, you have to close it so that it will run the simulation. And that's, the downside of the free trial is you get ads. That was all the ads you're going to see. You only get the ad one time whenever you run a simulation. So if you run a lot of simulations, you can see a lot of ads, but mostly you'll just get that one. So this is what I was talking about in the launch visualizer. If you look at it, the background is gray. So we can see the rocket sitting on the pad, and we can see the sky, and we can see the horizon, but I have no depth perception of where this rocket is. But let me turn off the, let me leave the weathercocking cone on. It's given me a little bit of information. What I do know is this rocket's going to be in the air for 25 seconds. So let's take a look at it. It's going up. It's in the weathercocking cone, so it's doing fine. All right, so now it's kind of flopping around. Okay, see, this I can call this gliding. It's upside down, but it's gliding. It's gliding backwards. And we're getting down to close to the ground. Let's see if I can stop it right there. And let's zoom out and kind of get the lay of the land here. So we can see that trajectory here, and it's not your typical trajectory. The rocket did, let me turn off the weathercock can go now. And let's turn off the smoke. Okay. And turned off the tracking smoke. So the rocket's going up. And now it's coming down. You can see its orientation here as it's coming down. It's not gliding the way we would like it to glide, but that is technically a glide. And let's see if we can look at it from straight down. So looking at it straight down, it, can't tell much from that angle. But the liftoff point was right here. It went up and it zoomed around, but it kind of just followed the trajectory down to the ground. Okay, so now technically it is gliding. Let's see if we can get it gliding nose first. So let's put some nose weight in this rocket, because basically it's close. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see what happens. So let's put some nose weight in there. So I'm selecting the nose cone. I'm going to come over here to mass object. This is the database of all the mass objects, but I don't really care about anything. I just want some mass. Let's throw in 15 grams. And so right now that mass is right there. I'm just going to move it inside the rocket a little bit. And we'll call it good. And now let's launch it again. So this is how you go ahead and design things. You make your first flight, see what it does, then you come back, make some changes, see what it does. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So it's going to be in the air about the same amount of time. And let's launch it. So it launches, it's going up. I can still see it's going up right here. Now it's starting to come back down. Okay, so now we're going down. And it's better glide than before. Before it was different. Okay, so I want to see the whole trajectory. Let me zoom out, see how much different it looks. Actually, it looks about the same. One of the things that we can do in RockSim Pro is this is identical. Even with 15 grams of extra nose weight in, I would have expected at least the altitude to be different because we got more nose weight in there. Yeah, so let's add some more nose weight and see what happens. Let's see, so here's our mass. Oh, let me say something. Cancel out of here. Oh, see, this is why. See, it says user specified mass. I didn't notice that before. Whenever you see this right here, that tells me that if I come up here, this has been turned on. So I need to uncheck that. Now, let's go back to the design components, take that mass and delete it. Basically, we have to start over because we had screwed up because we had a fixed mass. I'm going to say yes. So we're going to launch it again. If you click on this one here, it'll explain this mass problem that we're talking about like right now. Mark Sell writes, can you adjust the CG so that it is closer to the CP to help improve glide? And that is exactly what I'm trying to do right now, Mark, is adjusting the CP and the CG. But it's not as easy as it thinks, as it seems. Okay, so rocket is kind of doing what it did before. It's flopping around. It flipped over, almost wanted to flip over. It's kind of wobbling back and forth. And just about down. Okay, so let me zoom out, see what it looks like. Okay, so this one is definitely a longer glide. Do you see that? So the liftoff point was right here. It went up, kind of flipped over, and then it was kind of backsliding right here. So now I can go, I can select, see, now I know that this one was different from this one. So if I select both of them and I hit the flight or the flight profile button, we can compare two flights at the same time. Okay, so right now there's two rockets right here. See, one just took off and went in a different direction. And I want to pause it when it gets down to here. And then I want to look at it from this perspective. So one rocket landed here, one landed right here. So the one that we were zoomed in on was this one. They both stayed in the same plane. It's just they have different trajectories. Okay, so now we're going to take this one here and I'm going to add that 15 grams of nose weight. So I'm doing what I did before. I'm just moving that nose weight here. And I click OK. And then we're going to launch it again, same as before. Flight profile. And we're going to launch it. Chris's Rocketry and More is here, and he says, hello, I made it. All right, so there's the rocket on the ground. We launch it. It's going up. This one's staying in the air a little bit longer. I want it to nose over. It still wants to fly backwards. So now it's falling crushed. So it flipped over. Let me see what this one looks like. Yeah, this one's different again too. See, every little change you make your rocket, you know, is going to affect the flight. Anyway, so that was part A. Part B is typically on gliders, you take the fins and you cant them so that it will pull out of a dive. We can't even get ours into a dive right now. So canting the fins, I don't know what it's going to do. So here's the part that, so we proved that it can do a glide, but now we want to actually start tweaking things, and here's where it gets hard, because I noticed this bug like a couple weeks ago, and we haven't fixed it, so I know it's still broken. But one of the new features in RockSim Pro is you can adjust the fins at different times in the flight. So, you know, we got these back wings here on our glider. The elevators. So right now, those elevators are at 0 degrees angle of attack. So to make this thing pull out of a dive, we want to pitch them down so the tip is a little bit down relative to the wing. And that should cause it to, create a downward force on the back to cause the nose cone to rise up. But this is where it gets really hard. So I can change those fins. So we have the horizontal stabilizer right here. And if I go and edit that, so you can see, I'm going to edit that. And if I go to the radial position tab, so I'm editing this rectangle right here. And I can change the fin cant angle. See if I change it, now I got a fin cant of 12.5 degrees. The problem is I have two fins on my rocket, and they're on opposite sides. So when I cant one 12.5 degrees, it cants the other one in the opposite direction 12.5 degrees. So if I look at this in 3D, you can definitely see, okay, so this one's canted up, and on this side we're canted down. So this is canting it down is what we want to do on both of them to cause it to pull out of a dive. So what I would have to do in this case is to take these two fins and split them apart. So I'm going to cancel out of here. It's asking me to save the changes. I'm going to say no. So now I went back to the original, and I want to take this horizontal stabilizer and I want to split it into two pieces. So right now they're considered as one, and I'm going to split them into two. So they're going to be two separate items. And I'm going to say yes right there. So now we have two horizontal stabilizers. We have this one on this side, and then that one on the opposite side of the aircraft. See if I can zoom out a little bit. So this one is on the port side or starboard side, and this one is on the port side. So now if I edit these, let me recenter this and zoom in. Oh, what happened? Okay, so if I go to radial position, and I'm not sure if I got the starboard or port. We'll figure this out in just a second. Go to radial position. Okay, so we must have the starboard because this one's not doing anything. So I'm going to call this one the starboard. Starboard is at the right side. And I want to give it a fin cant angle, I don't know, let's call it 5 degrees. Click. Okay, so if I rotate this around, that is, oh, that's pretty big. Let's go 2.5 degrees, half of that. Okay, did you see it move? Okay, so that horizontal tail is now angled down. So now we got to do the other one. So this one, now this is our starboard or port. And if we go to radial position, if I say fin cant angle 2.5 degrees, you'll notice that it angled it up. We need to angle it down. So I got to make that a negative 2.5 degrees. So now it's angled down. And if I spin it around, it should look like the other one. If I look at it from the back, it does look like they're both at 2.5 degrees. So here's where the bug is. So in 3D, it looks correct. But if you go to 2D, it reversed it. So remember, we angled them down, And now they're angled up. And I don't know which one is correct. Actually, I don't know if we'll be able to figure that out or not. So in 3D, they're angled down. In 2D, they're angled up, which is a bug. Should be like that. All right, so now let's launch it and see what happens. And I don't know what's going to happen. It's like we already know there's a bug in there. I don't know how the bug is going to affect the flight. And then we click flight profile and see what it does. Mark Sell says, I did not know you could do overlapping simulations. Good to know. Yeah, Mark, that's one of the coolest features. That one is one of the new features that came out earlier this year. And it's only in RockSim Pro. It doesn't do it in RockSim. Okay, so I want to look at this rocket on the pad. Okay, so it does look like it's angled down compared to this wing right here. But notice 26 seconds. So let me go to a look at that. I went to that view and now I can't even see the rocket. Yeah, let's launch it. Yep, and the rocket went out of sight. Okay, so it's doing something. It almost looks like the same as before. So let me turn off this this one. And let's click OK. All right, so now let's compare it, like we were just talking about, compare the two simulations. And we hit launch. And we got to wait for another ad. Close it. Okay, so again, there's two rockets sitting on the pad here. And let's launch. Okay, you can see one split off. You can see they're kind of flying in tandem, but they are a little different. Yeah, it's kind of like, that's interesting. That looks cool. Kind of looks like a skier. Yeah, the trajectory was about the same. So canting the fins, it affected a little bit. It's like it affected it going up more than it affected it coming down. Interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry. Again, I'm sorry for the gray background. It should be a map of the planet, and that gives you perspective on what it's doing. But I have no reference right now. Yeah, so I'm sorry for that. Mark Sell says it was gliding inverted, so can't angle inverted should work? Question mark. And I said, like, I don't know. There's a bug. This is really hard because we're trying to calculate all the forces on all the individual parts of the rocket. And yeah, it's hard. Alfred Indy says you might have to up the wind, make gusts hitting the rocket from a different direction. Okay, let's try it. So to change wind in RockSim Pro, you go here to prepare for launch, then you come over here to wind table. So this shows our wind. Right now we have at 0 feet above sea level, we have the wind coming out of the 270 direction. So 270 is west. So from the west at 8 miles an hour. And then at 12,000 feet, we also have out of the west at 8 miles an hour. So essentially, we have a constant 8 miles an hour blowing across the field. So let's make this out of the 0 direction. So now we have wind, instead of coming out of the west, we have it coming out of the north. And let's hit the flight profile and see if that changes anything. My gut feeling is it's not going to change much, but I could be wrong. Oh, I didn't want it to do that. Okay, so our rocket is right there again. Oh, this one's 22 seconds, so it's 4 seconds different. So it definitely changed something. Let's launch it and see what happens. It still looks like it's going straight up. You can see the north is kind of like at the bottom right corner. And yeah, it definitely did something different that time. Interesting flight. Yeah, so looking at it from the top view, let's swing this around to the north. So north is straight up. So when we launched from right there. And here's the launch pad. And then it came up. Here's the apogee point. So it went kind of south. It went south a little bit, and then all of a sudden it turned and started going east, off to the east. So yeah, it's coming up at us. Yeah, now it's falling down, but it's doing weird things. Yeah, it's like, I don't think it'll ever be perfect, but it's fun to play with. Any other questions? One of the things that, let's go to a normal rocket. I'll talk about something different. Let's go to a Dynastar Orion. And save my changes? No. Okay, so here's a Dynastar Orion rocket. What is that? I don't like that. Let's try a different rocket. This one has some remnants of something going on. Apogee Aspire. Save changes? No. Okay, so here's an Apogee Aspire. And let's put in an F10. Here's an Apogee F10 8. Click OK. So streamer is, let's leave it as no event. I want it to come streaming back down. Starting state. Let's go up vertically. And again, we set the wind from the north at 8 miles an hour. And let's see the flight profile of this. Okay, so this one's going to be in the air for 44 seconds. I just want to see the up part. And we're at 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet, 4,000 feet, getting close to apogee, 5,000 feet, 5,040 something feet. All right, so now it's going to come screaming down into the ground, and it's hit the ground. At a negative 22 feet. It dug a hole 22 feet deep. Let's see the trajectory. Okay, so let's swing the north around this way. Okay, so remember we have wind coming out of the north. So here was our launch point. No, here was the launch point. The wind is coming this direction, kind of towards the bottom. So when it lifted off, it weathercocked into the wind, which is what we expect. Then it reached its apogee, and then it just came screaming into the ground. What I wanted to show was RockSim Pro allows you to do uncertainties. So an uncertainty is like, I don't know if my fins are on straight. I'm uncertain about that. And you can say, well, what would happen if they are not on straight? And those are called the uncertainties. So these are all the things that you can be uncertain about. You know, you can be uncertain about the mass and its moment of inertia and the center of gravity, aerodynamics. I'm going to set everything to 0 except for the wind direction. Let's say I'm uncertain. You know, the wind could be coming straight at me or it could be coming out like this. So let's say that might be 30 degrees. And the wind velocity, right now, remember we have a constant 8 miles an hour, but does it always blow at 8? No, it could be higher or lower. So let's say we're uncertain about the wind by about 3 miles an hour. So it could go anywhere from like 11 to 5, or maybe a little bit different. And then our launch guide, our azimuth is our direction. So I think we had this one pointed straight up. But let's say the azimuth has an error of 5 degrees, and the elevation is how far it is off of 0 degrees vertical. So, you know, you can eyeball 5 degrees. So let's say we're going to eyeball 5 degrees. And then I want to set all these other ones to 0. And then let's say, let's run this simulation 30 times. And then hit launch. And then after our add, we will close that, and it's going to run it. So now it's running the simulations, and you can see how fast it's flying through them. And this is because we're not running a streamer on it. So we're just going up and coming down. And you notice the results are exactly the same. But here's where it's different. I can go to this landing, plot landing points. Since we ran this 30 times, there's 30 different impact points. And so because of the uncertainty, it's kind of doing a random number generator. And it's varying the wind direction and the wind speed, plus the launch rod angle. So it's how far it is from vertical, and then also what direction it's pointed. So there's actually 4 things that we're uncertain about. And so you can plot this on a RockSim landing point chart, and it looks like this. So our launch point is the green dot, which is right here. And all these other blue ones are the uncertain points. And this one here in the middle is the nominal point. So if everything was perfect, so remember we launched straight up and we had 8 mile an hour wind from the north. If that's the conditions, this is where it would land. And so it's almost perfectly in line. But since we have varied all those different things, we're getting this kind of scatter plot. And we can change the preferences here. So plot style, latitude and longitude, let's do feet. And let's plot it again. This one should be a square. Diamond, rectangle, plot graph. Okay, so now there's that rectangle. Again, our nominal point is straight up, but it's 1,000 feet away. Wow. Basically, this thing arced over and it went 1,000 feet. Remember, we're going over 5,000 feet high, so we're almost a mile high. and it's going to land 1,000 feet away because of the wind. And so all these landing points are scattered all over. But so we can kind of get like this could be the landing zone that we would expect our rocket to be landing in. So this is the RockSim landing points chart. And then there's also, if you go back to that same one, there's a Google Earth landing point chart. And this is what I was playing with earlier today, because this computer, like I said, is not my computer. So I had to load the Google Earth onto this computer. And so I found it. It was hard to find on the internet, but I did find it. So they are still making it, which is really good. So this is Google Earth, and it's really nice. It's kind of like what the launch visualizer is like, except for this is better because it shows the outlines of the states and the cities and the roads and everything. But what it did was it made a splash pattern on Google Earth, and it's over here. And I want to expand it and then turn on all the points. So here's where its launch point is, and I'm gonna zoom in on this by double clicking here, and it will zoom in our launch point. Holy cow! Our launch point is in the water. Didn't know that. So we must have been on a barge or something. Okay, so our launch point was right here in the water from some kind of watercraft. And so we can kind of see the trajectory. This is kind of like what the launch visualizer does, except it's not animated. So we can't see how the rocket is acting like we did earlier with the snarky rocket, where you saw it just flopping around like this. My camera seems off. There we go. Put it in front of my face. So these are all the uncertainty landing points. There's like no good place to launch a rocket from this little island. But if you click on these landing points, what it will do is it will bring up what the error was. So this is the wind error first. And so at 0 feet above sea level, we had an error of 3.23. So instead of being at 8 miles an hour, it was at 9.9 miles an hour. No, that was a direction. So we have altitude, direction, and velocity. So right here, it's blowing pretty strong. Because we said 8 miles an hour, and it's showing 17. So that's a big difference. But then we also have the azimuth error. Instead of being straight up would be 90 degrees. This one is just a little bit off of straight. So minus 0.17 degrees. That's the azimuth. So minus 0.17 is just a little bit to the north, west of north. And our elevation is our degrees from vertical, and this was 2.6 degrees from vertical, and it landed there. So if you click on a different one, you can see different errors. Again, our velocity is so high here. So there must be some conversion error here, because it shouldn't be that far off. These are all like 17 miles an hour. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's not a good launch site. And that's in Vermont or New Hampshire. Yeah. So what I found out was there's a website called earth.google. Okay, it's www.earth.google.com, and you get this. And it was really hard to find the desktop application because they do have the Earth as this, and it's in a browser. So, see, I got the world upside down. And I was wondering if you don't have the Google Earth application for your computer, does this web browser work? And I found out that it does. But what you have to do is you have to see when RockSim runs these, it creates a file on your computer. And it's this file right here. Let's see if I can see the full name of it. Yeah, so it's a KML file, and I think that's called Key Markup Language or something like that. And it's a Google Earth. It's specifically for Google Earth to draw on Google Earth. But the question is, where does RockSim put this file? And it puts it in a hidden location. So I think I'll show it to you. This is where the rocket motors are stored. So you got to go to your desktop, and then you hit the Go menu, and you hold down the Option key, and you'll see that Library is hidden. And this is the hidden folder. So you go to the library, and then inside of here, you go to Application Support, and you come down here to Apogee Components, and then it's going to be in the RockSim Pro, and then it's in this folder called Sim Output. So if we open that, you can see all these simulations. And these are all the ones that I have run, and like all of these I had run today. So these CSV files are what the Launch Visualizer uses. And the KML file is what Google Earth uses. So I'm going to take this file, I'm going to pull it out of this folder. I'm just throwing it on my desktop so that I know where it is. So it's on my desktop right now. And then if I go here to the website, earth.google.com, and if I go to File, and then load new local KML file. If I do that, where did it go? Work faster. I don't care. What the heck? File. Open. I don't want to make a new one. I want to make an open one. Okay, so on the desktop, no, what did I call it? Apogee. It wasn't the Avion, it was the Aspire. So it was this one right here. If I say open, so it opened it, and now it went to it again. It's showing it, but it's only showing the nominal trajectory. So again, our launch point is off of some boat right there. But if I go to this file right here, then I can turn on all these other points. And the thing that I haven't figured out is how I can do them all at the same time without manually clicking on all of them and turning them all on. What the heck? So what I'm saying is you can use the desktop app, or you can use the web version of Google Earth to see these maps. I think it's just more convenient with the desktop app. And then when you click on one, again, it brings up all the errors, the uncertainty errors. So you can see what caused the rocket to land on that specific point. So I clicked on point P27, which is right there. So that was what I was playing with today. It's all the same. Yeah. It's kind of cool that if you click on it, it will just fly right there. Alfred Indy says, my hawk goes through the same spastic movements that your simulation makes with the wind until the wind straightens it out. Yeah. Very cool. Don't save. All of these, when we quit RockSim, let's see if it happens. So I'm going to go to RockSim Pro. I'm going to quit RockSim Pro. I'm going to say yes. And it is supposed to clear all these out when you quit. Interesting. Because I've run a lot more simulations than that. Because, you know, you don't want to be cluttering up your computer with a lot of temporary files. Let's see if I restart RockSim Pro if they go away. Oh, they did. Did you see that? They all went away. The thing that's not going to go away are those KML files. Those are like, once it exports them out, they're out there. So they're not big, 149K. That's not huge. You'd have to get thousands of them before you'd probably have a big problem. But I'm going to delete them now. Just go File, Move to Trash. And then this new one was a backup one. I can delete that one too. Move to Trash. So it is right. RockSim does empty out the trash once you're done doing your simulations. All right. I think that's all I have today. Not very many questions. Come on, I'm expecting more questions from you. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed it today. I will not be here again next Friday. This time I'm not going to Texas. I have to actually go see my other daughter who's in North Carolina. So she's got what she's called a white coat ceremony, where she's getting a medical degree in becoming a physician's assistant. And this is the point in the school year where she gets to wear the white coat instead of being a student. Now she's going to be walking around with doctors, and they'll treat her with a little bit more respect because she's got a white coat on. I hope. Anyway, so I'm going to go to that white coat ceremony next week. And so I will not be here. What happened to my camera? My camera went away. Let's see if I can get the camera back. Well, I can get this one. I can get my computer monitor camera. Anyway, yeah, so I won't be here next week, but I think I'll be here the following week. So next week is, I know the 4th is a Tuesday because that's our next newsletter. Wednesday be 5, 6, the 7th. So the 7th is a Friday, so then the next one would be the 14th. So I think I'll be here on the 14th. That is, actually, it's a special day. It's a holiday. It's kind of like Black Friday, but it's called Direct-to-Consumer Day. I just learned about this. I didn't even know this one existed. It's Direct-to-Consumer Day. This is to recognize manufacturers that sell directly to consumers. And hey, that's us. So that's on the 14th. So hopefully I'll be here for Direct-to-Consumer Day. We're always looking for holidays to celebrate. Anyway, thanks for coming. I'll give you a countdown and we'll get out of here. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go out and launch something.